Hey everybody, welcome to Kim Eisen Media. I'm so glad you're here. This is my first video for Kim Eisen Media. I'm working on working out the kinks and learning how to do this sort of thing. And so I thought I would, just jump on here and talk about something that I recently was dealing with, and I thought that would be a good way to start this. And so I just wanted to talk to you today about something that I really think lives in the hearts of a lot of people right now. Something that doesn't always get said. And it's not because people don't feel it, but it's because they're just not sure how to say it without it coming out wrong. I think we all go through that, right? So I'm going to try and say it the right way because I really think that, we need to hear it. All of us. Every single generation sitting in this conversation together. So let's just start here with what every generation deserves, first and foremost. So every generation that has ever walked this earth has had one thing in common. They each got their moment, their time to step up, to build something, to shape the world in their image, and leave it better than they found it. That is not a privilege. That's a birthright. That belongs to every human being who shows up and is willing to do the work. Look, I was raised by my grandmother, someone 2 full generations ahead of me. And I want to tell you, that woman shaped the foundation of how I think in a lot of ways. I sat at her feet, metaphorically speaking, and I soaked up everything she had to give. Her wisdom, her perspective, her values. And I built my entire way of seeing the world on top of what she gave me. And I'm grateful for every bit of it. So when I talk about generations, I am not talking about opposition. I am not talking about one side against the other. I am talking about a relay race. And in a relay race, the whole point is to pass the baton, not to hold on to it forever, not to question whether the next runner is ready, but to trust that you trained them well enough and to let them run. Just let them run. That is how progress works. That is how it's always worked. Right? And we're at a point now where the world has just changed, and that is okay. The world looks a lot different today than it did 40 years ago. And I do not say that as a criticism of the past, not at all. I say it as a fact of life. The world has always changed. It has always evolved. That's not something to be afraid of. That's something to be in awe of, right? Some of the issues and conversations that are front and center in our culture today simply were not front and center when previous generations were coming up. And that doesn't mean that one era was better or worse than another. It just means that the human story is still being written. It means that we are all still figuring it out together. Figuring it out together is the key phrase, because no generation has ever had all of the answers, not one. Every single group of people who ever took the reins of this country did the best they could with what they knew at the time. And the generations that followed built on that, corrected what needed correcting, expanded what deserved to grow. That's not disrespect. That's the whole idea, right? So what are we really asking for? I am a Gen X person. Let's just say that. But for every Gen X person, every millennial, every member of Gen Z watching this, I want you to hear me. Your voice matters. Your perspective matters. Your vision for this country matters. You're not too young. You're not too inexperienced. You're not too idealistic. You are exactly what every generation before you was when it was their turn. You are ready. And it is time to start showing up like you know that. And to the generations who came before, the ones who built the foundation that we are all standing on right now, I want to say thank you. Genuinely and completely. Thank you for the sacrifices. Thank you for the fights that you fought and the ground you gained. We would not be here without you, and we know that. All we are asking for is the same thing you once asked for: a real seat at the table, a chance to be heard, an opportunity to take everything you built and carry it forward into a future that works for all of us. This is not a threat. This is not a love letter to the idea of America itself. See, here's what happens if we start getting manipulated away from each other. You know, I really want to talk about this because one of the biggest obstacles to the conversation I am describing is misinformation. And I mean that in the most literal sense. There is an image that has been circulating online for years. I've seen it shared over and over again. It makes a long list of claims about things a former president supposedly said and did. Things that were outrageous, things designed to make people furious. And not one of them is true. Not a single claim on that list actually happened. And I bring this up not to score political points or anything like that. I bring it up because I think it is one of the clearest examples of how we have deliberately been divided. Someone sat down and manufactured outrage. They packaged it up, made it shareable, and sent it out into the world, knowing that people would believe it and pass it along. And it worked. For years it worked. You know, this is not a left or a right problem. This is an everyone's problem. When we are fed lies designed to make us hate each other, we spend all of our energy fighting the wrong battles. We stop talking to each other. We stop seeing each other. And the people who benefit from that kind of division, the people who reap the rewards, they just keep winning. And we deserve better than that. Every single one of us, from boomers on down, deserve to make our choices, our political choices, our civil choices, based on what is actually true. Not on what someone manufactured to keep us angry and arguing with one another. Right? Here's what I know. Every generation has looked at the world they inherited and thought, we can do better. We can do better. And every generation has been right, because that hunger, that drive to build something better for the people who come after you, that is not generational. That is human. We are all in this together. We always have been. The question is whether we are willing to act like it. I think we are. I really do. So let's stop fighting over who gets to hold the baton and start running the race together. Because the finish line is worth it. And so are the people waiting for us there. Again, please like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Again, I'm Kim Eisen of Kim Eisen Media. I hope you enjoyed this message, and I appreciate you, and thank you for being here. Take care.